Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading room, the end of another work week. Woohoo! I was just reviewing yesterday's session, and it's what a wild session that was. We'll see what today brings. But a funny thing, if we take a look here at the daily chart, this was the result of yesterday's trading. This big, very neutral doji style bar. So we saw some incredible ranges, and yet at the end of the day, the market pretty much finished off where it began. So in spite of all that volatility, a very, very neutral day. Today you can see we're actually opening well above where the market left off. So we have a very large downside gap and some fairly serious upward momentum, or so it seems. We'll have to give them a little bit of time here to sort things out. Try not to get too anxious, but I could see the potential for the market to try to run back up around that 7,300 range. Okay, for those of you new in the trading room here this morning, let me give you a really quick overview of what you're looking at. We've got the complete DTS system here along with the Raptor. So here in the top left, we have the Hawk Micro Scalper, top right, Falcon Swing Trader, bottom left, Eagle Trend Trader, and then the bottom right, the Raptor. The Raptor is actually a hybrid, and it incorporates signals from the other three tools into one trading system. So you're going to see the signal generation will sometimes pick up trend trades, sometimes pick up scalp trades, sometimes pick up swing trades. The primary signal generator for the Raptor is the Falcon. So that's why most times we go with a $100 profit objective, which is the profit objective we would have for the swing trader. All right, so here we are out of the gate, and looks like no shortage of volatility here today, or at least to start the morning. We'll see how things shape up as the morning progresses. So far, they're just fairly content to be moving sideways, not moving too far off of the is that the primary resistance or support? Oh, primary support zone. Look at the size of these ranges. This is our support and resistance suite, these lines here. With all that volatility yesterday, the support and resistance lines really, really getting wide, which tends to happen. It's still early though. I like volatility in the market, but look at how neutral everything is here. The hawk micro scalper keeps breaking up, as was the raptor. It's a very tempting buy signal right here. No, I think I'll wait. I think I'll wait for things to smooth out a little bit. Yeah, Scott says, click the buy button. I dare you. Scott also says, I missed yesterday, heard it was volatile. Did it ever smooth out? No, not really. No, it was what you see is what you get. This is what yesterday was like. Some very violent swings, some slippage. Wasn't crazy slippage. I think the worst slippage I took on a trade was 2 ticks, but it was a crazy day, all right. While we're waiting for things to settle down here a little bit, I need to head out of town next week. This kind of last minute stuff, and I do apologize. So I need to cancel the trading room for next week. And let's see if Antonio, you're in the room here this morning. I can either send you a refund for the week or just extend it. And again, I apologize. Kind of last minute. Some family business I need to deal with. No, it's nothing too terribly serious, but it is going to take me away from home for about 4 days next week. And I'll remind you guys again here at the end of the trading room. Yeah, Scott says, was it like when Q1 or 2 when it was nuts for like 2 or 3 weeks? I think it was worse. Take a look here at the day ranger and look at how quickly the ranges are expanding. So the average 30-day range is just under 440 ticks, which would be big anyhow for the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq tends to hover around 2 or 3 or 100. 10-day average 664, 5-day average 830 yesterday, 1034. I don't think I've ever seen the day ranger display a 4-digit range for the Nasdaq. Stephen, are you volunteering? Stephen says, why cancel? Have one of the heavy hitters lead the room. I'm open to it. If I have any volunteers who want to host the room for the week, please let me know. I would appreciate it. And I'm sure other room members would appreciate it as well. Your wisdom and guidance. You just have to promise not to make me look too bad while I'm away. Oh, I see Stephen's volunteering a few people here. For those of you who are contemplating it and thinking, yeah, maybe I'd like to give that a go, you don't have to be worried. You have to remember, this isn't a trade call room per se. The chief objective of this trading room is that it is a training room. So long as you're proficient with the signals and how the signals develop, and you can explain it to somebody, that's the key thing, the key feature. Now, if you're able to tell somebody why we may not prefer this number 2 to this number 2 signal, that would be even better. If you can tell somebody why we shouldn't be looking at counter trend signals at all, I'll sign you up right now. And maybe you can get it through to me too. I'm still not really clear which way the market wants to go here. Like, this is very much like yesterday, where we had loads of volatility, some quick, erratic moves, very un-NASDAQ-like moves. This is like crude oil of old. So like I said, if you're entertaining the notion, you don't need to worry about showing somebody a false signal. It happens. And one thing that I want everybody in the room to always bear in mind is that while I do my best to show you what would be a decent trade, ultimately you're responsible for your own money. I know that sounds like a little bit of a cop-out, but it's true. It's your money. You earned it. You spend it. It's your decision to take a trade or to pass on a trade. Wow, I would dearly like to see some of this volatility wane. We're at about the quarter to the hour mark, which isn't my favorite time of the day to trade anyhow. So I think I'll just sit on my hands here for a little while. But I don't know, just as you think you're going to see something trend-wise develop, look at that. We start to see the market move the other way. I don't know if all this chop is just from a lack of volume. See, I'm watching the Geiger counter here, And it's not unusual to see onesie twosie type trades go through, but usually we see a little bit more than that. We'll see, 20s or at least some sort of double digits. Well, there was somebody who placed an order for 9. Without too much success. Yeah, Phil says the computers are trading. That's what it is. They're just, the algos are firing, and the HFT traders, the high frequency traders, the guys that are scalping for like quarter points. But like I said, we're only seeing, there was an 11 and a 12 order go through. But you're looking at the size of these orders. Oh, it's picking up a little bit. If you see too many onesie twosies, you got to wonder, where are all the big traders gone? Because the little guys, we don't, the little guys really don't drive the market. Ooh, Stephen says, I'll volunteer to do the room. Well, thanks, Stephen. Stephen asks, can I do it from my 30-second chart I sent you the other day? Well, yes, and you have to, it is a DTS and a Raptor trading room, so you do have to spend some time focusing on the Raptor and the other tools, of course. You can show people how you like to do things. Most certainly you can. One thing you're going to find, folks, is that I often get this question. Well, if the system is so good, why don't you trade it live? Well, we do trade it live, obviously, but I don't do it with real money. I'm doing this in sim. In case anybody's wondering, is Eric trading real money in here? No, I'm trading in sim. Why is that? Because when I'm trading real money, I have to focus entirely on the charts. I don't have time to explain anything. I don't have time to elaborate. I'm focusing on what the chart is doing. I'm literally hovering above my buy and sell buttons, ready to make a decision. So it's not that it's, well, it is. It is difficult doing the two things at the same time. It's difficult trying to teach somebody how to do something while actually doing it real time. And I think that's true for, just about anything. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I think back to other tasks that I've tried to show people. And usually it's like, okay, watch how I do this, and then I'll explain how I did it. Or I'll take the time and explain how I do it in steps, and then do it. So doing, oops, sorry, 1 second here. I lost my headset. So some people think it's a cheat, but believe me, we did a live trading room, trading, like a trade call room for a while, and it did not go over well. It did not go over well at all. Because I wouldn't explain stuff and people would get frustrated and they would say, well, what's wrong with this signal? Or why aren't you taking that signal? And it's like, sorry, I can't talk about it right now. I'm trading. Yes, Scott says, what about my XXXXX account? The sim programs that are out there today are so realistic. If you can make money in sim, you can make money trading real money. The only disadvantage to trading in sim, apart from the fact that you don't actually make the money, is that some people will turn the simulator into a video game. And that's fine if you're going to trade your money as though it were a video game. If you can kind of keep that distance. Yeah, like Scott says, Top Step is a rather good setup. And I just sent out an email regarding the Top Step promotion we have on the website. Please disregard that. They've changed their system and they never told me. They actually changed it a while ago and never told me. So they no longer offer the first month free to traders. Rather, there's a 20% discount. And if anybody is interested in that, I will put the promo here in the window. And Mickey, I've responded to your email as well. Yes, the code I put in the window is the promo code to receive the 20% discount on Top Step. Okay, well, what do we think? The market is almost almost in a bind. Note the trade forecaster is saying we are in trend mode, but it says it's going to be this way for 160 minutes. The trade forecaster is good, but when you start to get these huge numbers, 160 minutes, 300 minutes, I think 300 minutes is the largest I've ever seen. You need to kind of take that figure with a grain of salt. Remember, this is also a computer program. It's trying to forecast what the current market environment is and what the next one is likely to be. And when you get some really big numbers like that, sometimes you got to step back a little bit and say, now that I've said that, just watch the market take off here and never look back. Oh, look at you, Scott, with all the ideas here. It says Trade Forecaster should have a channel mode. I like it. Okay, things getting a little bit more civilized, and it almost looks as though we have a bit of a trend at this point. So we've got a nice little move higher, and I would be open to perhaps picking up on a buy signal here. And are we going to get a little bit of a pullback or not? Do I need to get on one of these discretionary signals? The Geiger counter now is out of sync. Doggone it, everything was syncing up so nicely. And I thought maybe we were going to have an opportunity here. Oh, maybe we will still. Okay, settle down, Eric. Spoke too soon. Okay, so here now the number 2 signal. Oh, well, Scott says I was joking, actually. It's hard to tell with you, Scott, especially since you can only type. All right, here we're going to get this a number 3 signal. I'm punching in, and then I'll explain it again. Hazards of a trade room moderator. By the time I get it explained, the signal is long gone. So we have not quite encountered the hard edge, but we've gotten awfully, awfully close. And this would be, in my book, a number 3 signal. And of course, I would have much preferred to enter down here, but it did not work out that way. Come on, give me one more bar. I will adjust my break even slightly. Oh, you stinkers, come on. Don't fail now. So the market's settling a little bit. It's seeming as though we have a bit of an uptrend now. And so I want to try this number 3 signal. But darn it if I didn't get in too late. Shoot, I should have let it pass. All right, well, there's still hope. The market retracing now back to the hard edge. Whether or not the buyers will pick it up, well, here's hoping. Okay, so I could adjust my stops a little bit here, put it just underneath these double lows, or, you know, for the extra 4 ticks, I can leave it where it is. Here, we'll roll it up a little bit. After sweating the trade like this, the last thing I want is to get tagged by 2 or 3 ticks, only to watch the market reverse and head higher without me. And that is a real possibility in these type situations. Come on, get up there. Get above 71.50. You can do it. You can do it. Nope. Nope. Too late on the signal. It was a good signal. This signal right here, I was just too darn late. So this was the trade I wanted, but I got in far too late. Should have let it pass. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. All right, well, we'll leave that alone for now. Oh, see? Ooh! Tag me out and then they go higher. Ooh, I hate that. Oh, look at that, you stinkers. All right, here quickly, I'm very late on this number one signal as well. We do have a second push opportunity on this one, and all the second push means is I allow the signal to engage, I see where it reacts. This reaction very, very far from the signal. This is not ideal. Usually you want to see the reaction a couple of bars in, and ideally you want to see a reaction like this where the bar actually turns. Although if the trend is strong, sometimes you only get that. Now I'm going to stretch this bad boy out. Here, we're going to swing for the fences here this morning. So here, the high of the morning, 71.73. Come on. Sorry, my sound cut out. I was saying that those of you who like the band counter, you have Scott to thank for that. Oh, come on, where are you? There you are. I don't know how many months he was asking for it before we finally got around to doing it for him, but there is the band counter, and it measures the width of the trading band, and I know Scott likes to use it here on the Eagle. And when the band gets especially broad, it will have a tendency to pull back with a counter trend bias. Now you can obviously do the same thing on the Raptor, because the Raptor borrows the trading band from the Eagle and is actually a nice confirmation of any counter trend attempts. So I'm wondering why that did not print as a number 2 signal, probably because the retest was not quite high enough, but it was still resembling a number 2 signal. This actually coinciding with the Eagle signal, I think. Paul asks an interesting question here regarding the support and resistance suite. He says, when the median line is higher than the day before, does that indicate a trend? So here's the support and resistance suite. The gold line is the median line. All that tells you is that it's not necessarily stronger, rather it is right in the middle of the assortment. Then we have primary resistance and primary support. Those are the blue lines above and below. And then we have the secondary resistance and support zones. It's an interesting question, Paul. I've never really looked at it that way, whether or not how the median line prints relative to the day before, whether that has a peculiar bias on the market or not. That is a very interesting observation, however. I will have to pay more attention to it. I wonder, one second here, if I look at my daily chart, if it doesn't become too terribly convoluted if I throw the support and resistance suite, if I can find it. All right. Let's put the bars in the back. There we go. All right, so, well, you may be onto something here, Paul. Let's make that very wide. So just a quick and dirty look here at the daily. Yeah, so it printed above. Well, the next day it went lower, so it didn't do a whole lot through here. Certainly these days were consistent, weren't they? And then so far today, we're just ever so slightly bullish, not a lot bullish. I think it might depend how much the median line spaces from where it was the day before. Here you can see this is a substantial difference in the median line relative to this one. and it was a very bullish day. This one very deep relative to this one, and a very, very bearish day. I don't know. That's a very interesting observation and something to keep an eye on. Here we go, back and forth again. Kind of stuck around the 7160 zone right now. Oh, slipping off a little bit. So we have been bullish for about 20 minutes. Now all of a sudden the market's starting to turn a little bit bearish again. This actually, the trend change signal here on the Eagle, it's also going to run away on me. Oh, might have a second push opportunity on this one. The trend change signal on the Eagle, if you suspect the market is making a trend change, is sometimes an interesting signal to try to get on board with. Problem with the Eagle, because of the larger ticks, it can be a little bit difficult to negotiate sometimes. We did have a rule of 3 signal here on the reverse, which lends a little bit of support to the possibility of a trend change. And we got some positive slippage, which is nice. Where's my next support zone? Well, 7101. All right, let's see what we can do with that. Now, with the Eagle, I would recommend being a little bit more aggressive with your stops. I think I'm going to need to reconsider that as a profit objective, and I will often go with something like the parabolics or even the bar high low, just because it is, at 12 ticks, this can add up in a hurry. I'll take the trade to break even manually as we're just about to kiss the break even target. So I'm wondering whether they are going to try to get into that gap. Even though this looks very far away, 7100 is, where's the low of the morning? The low of opening range, 7117. Here is the comparable Raptor signal. Okay. It might have been asking a lot from the market the way it is right now, but that's okay. It was a profitable trade. I'll take it. Okay, here now with the hard edge sell, and again, I'm just going to short it and then explain it. Um, so the market back into the hard edge. I feel as though we have a downtrend developing, so I'm going to be looking for shorting opportunities. This one I'm not quite as late on as the other one, so hopefully I don't get penalized on this one. And a lot of that early volatility draining out of the market. Oh, come on. Oh, they're kissing the profit target. Oh, man. So my delayed entry costing me again. There's the short signal. All right, I have time to set it up. Maybe. No, short it. Short it. Short it. Oh man, I'm all thumbs here this morning. Crazy. Okay, so a plethora of number 3 signals. All right, got the first target. Hooray. Let's see where my parabolics are. Going to be up here. All right, we can engage those now. Okay, a little bit of a reverse there again. And now a little bit of an uptick. Still kind of skewered. Well, not really skewered, but we have not really moved from this whole 7150, 7160 zone very far today. And more of the back and forth seesaw. Wow. Fridays are crazy too. I know, I forget who it is. I don't know if it's you, Phil, or someone else in the room who just flat out won't trade Fridays. And this is probably why. If I look back at my trading journal, I bet you if I've had losing days, they've probably been more on Fridays. Okay, here now another number one signal to short. And where's my sell? There we go. At this stage of the game, it's more or less flip a coin type trading, which is not recommended, but the market, to my eye, seems to be struggling to go higher. We had this nice rally up. We come back with a sell. We had the early number one signal here, which just blew by me. Here's the proper number one signal. I'm risking it to the hard edge. And maybe, just maybe. Yeah, Phil says Fridays are generally no good. And you can see why. Just zero follow through here. The moves are so erratic. I was looking to see a break of the low of the morning. I thought for sure they're going to at least make a stab at it. And then again, maybe not. Floyd says take a look at the 5-minute ADX on the NASDAQ. I have a feeling if Floyd's saying that, the ADX is probably plowing a new low. There's no real trend. Hold on while we're waiting on me to get stopped out here. You do that on a 5-minute chart. Okay, 1 second here. I will build a 5-minute chart. So here now the 5-minute chart, and we'll put an ADX on it. And we'll make that a little bit easier to see. Come on, work with me. What the? Oh, I know. Sorry. So the 5-minute chart, languishing here as well, actually gives us a pretty good snapshot. So the market opening somewhere right about here. So this is our day so far today. Here you can see the overnight, and here you can see the ADX. Yeah, not really any trend to understand. And back now toward the lows of the morning, and hopefully we'll see some follow through from that. Oh, I got tapped out. Hopefully a break even that time. Such a tight little range. Well, not so little. Such a tight, big range. Our Raptor band very, very flat. The Hawk dead neutral. Okay, I see a few new faces in the room here this morning. Just a reminder, folks, for those of you who didn't catch it earlier, I've got to head out of town next week, so we're just going to take the week off. No trading room next week. It will resume again the week after. All right, I'm going to. OCO orders are funny. You know, they work like a rock star or they make you look like an idiot. The problem with an OCO order is that you're looking for a breakout to stick. anytime you're waiting for the market to break a support or resistance area, it opens you up to the possibility of a fake break. With the tight little trading range that we've developed here, well, tight relative to today's range, it's actually a very broad range. And how we have seen the market retest this range time and again over the last 20 minutes or so, it's making me think that a breakout would be worth trying to buy or sell. That the next breakout, when it develops, will stick. By the way, we did just produce a rule of 3 signal here on the Eagle, 1, 2, 3 counter trend signals, tested the extreme. So as far as the Eagle is concerned, things are a little bit more with a bullish slant. All right, here they go. Are they going to test the top end? Okay, they did. So let's get a stop going. The thing with the breakout, of course, is that you need to anticipate a retest of the breakout also. So you don't necessarily want to be too fast with your stops. Okay, we're starting to get some serious profit going. I'm going to start to protect more of that. So we have hit our high probability profit objective, and sometimes the market will flinch when it gets in this neighborhood of your high probability profit target. That's why I'm going with a much more aggressive bar high low strategy for my stops. And if we ride out this swing here at 71.50, which has been so sticky this morning, I will make my stops tighter still. I'll start rolling only 1 bar back instead of 2. Just out of curiosity, you can see the parabolics were very, very close there as well. So the parabolics just below the low of this current bar. We'll see whether or not they would have kept me in or not. Oh, maybe. All right, at any rate, that was a decent OCO type trade. And I think what made it a little bit better was just the fact that, see how the market congestion started with a little bit of a tighter range, and then it tried to break out higher, failed, tried to break out lower, failed, tried to break out higher again, didn't make it, tried to break out lower again, didn't make it. When you see that kind of thing happening, which honestly doesn't happen all that often, usually you just see your channel and then you see the breakout and you hope that you didn't get caught on a fake break. But sometimes when you see the channel within the channel, it makes for a more reliable breakout, as was the case this time. Thank goodness. So once again, I proved to myself that I should not trade the first half hour of trading. I would have a very nice day going here today if I didn't suck up that initial loser. Vincent asking, are your parameters set at the default settings? Yes, I have pretty much everything on the default. I think my Raptor, however, my soft edge signal, oh no, my soft edge signal is also the default. Sometimes I will adjust this from the 1.01. I'll dial it up a little bit to perhaps 1.25 or something like that. All that does is it introduces a couple more number 2 signals. But yes, by and large, I run the defaults. The default signal or settings will work for the majority of the markets you're interested in trading. The Raptor is a little bit more tweakable, so you can make a few extra changes. The DTS system is pretty much locked, apart from the brick size or filter size. About the only times you need to make any changes, however, is if you open up your chart and you see, the daybreak lines are like this. Obviously, for a day trading system, you're not going to produce enough signals. So when this kind of thing happens, you need to reduce your settings a little bit. And that's the time we'll go with the faster 446 settings. Or again, you can experiment, especially with the Raptor. You can make changes. Antonio asks, and this is a great question, can the Raptor be adjusted to less aggressive signals so we could have more reliable signals? Yes, and hold on a second here. The easiest way to do that is, again, to play with the brick size. So here we have the Euro US dollar pair. Oop, something happened to my Geiger counter. Okay, 1 second here, folks. And here with the Euro US dollar pair, you have the opposite problem where you need to pay attention to your time stamps down here. And when you're getting too many bars printing, well, it's the opposite problem. You have too much information displaying. So what you will do is you'll actually increase your brick size, and that is the easiest way to filter signals. So you can increase your brick size, and you can see you'll produce fewer signals, and the signals will tend to have greater follow through. The downside for this is that you have to remember each bar is now 20 ticks tall, and so it may be a little bit more difficult to do the ideal trade. So for instance, if you were going to enter short on that number 3 signal and you're going to try to put your stops 2 swings back, it would be fine in this type of situation, or this number 2 signal, no problem. But you start looking at some of these signals. Okay, here's a number 3 signal. Here's swing 1, there's swing 2. That might start to get a little bit, depending on your account, of course, that might start to get a little bit out of reach. This is the Forex, however, so you can adjust your lot size accordingly. That is a good thing about the Forex. You can still leave a proper stop rather than try to throw your stop up there and keep your fingers crossed. Although you can see it did work out. But yeah, it's a great question, Antonio, and that's the easiest way, is to just adjust your brick size. The other thing is pay attention to the obvious, pay attention to the trend. As Ray Burkhouse used to say, you got to look left to be right. So if you're looking on your chart, or here, we're talking about the Raptor. Let's take a look at the Raptor. So if you're looking at this chart, you know, it starts in the bottom left, goes to the top right. Well, this looks like an uptrend, doesn't it? So you would be inclined for buy signals. There's a buy signal. You take the signal, and you know, you keep a proper stop, and the market should continue with trend. So if you look at a signal or at a situation like this, okay, we have a trending market. We're going to look for trend signals. When you have a situation like this, however, and I can't display it very well because I've got the trade going, but you look at a situation like this, there is no trend. The market is sideways. So you need to expect that there's not going to be much follow through on the signals. So what does that mean? Well, it means you either stop taking signals until the market is outside of the trading range, or perhaps you start taking scalp targets. You'll see that each of these trades would have, well, that one might have failed, but pretty much any other trade here, that one didn't initiate, would have reached a scalp target. But it's so much easier when you're looking at a market and it has something resembling a trend, and then you can try to stay on board with that trend. Another good way to eliminate possible poor signals is to employ the second push entry strategy, where we allow the signal to engage, we see the market react within a bar or two, and then we use that as our signal bar. But generally speaking, if you see a trend, if you trade with the trend and you try to leave yourself a reasonable stop, you're doing all you can to give that trade a fair chance. And most times it should work out in your favor. Will it work out every time? No, of course not. But most times it should work in your favor. So here we are now, the market, you know, struggling a little bit sideways. We rode out one swing. If I can get another bullish bar here to form, I'll start being a little bit more aggressive with my stops, because now I'm watching the buyers try to rally the market. This is really their last chance to try to rally the market up. And if they fail, then there's a good chance the market will try to head lower. Vincent asked, the parameters are already defaulted to the most optimal settings, aren't they? If so, why would there be a need to change the settings? Yes, the default settings are optimized. Why would you want to change them? Well, if I put the E-mini on here, hold on a sec. Okay, we'll just let this trade go and I'll show you. Oh, I can show you on another chart. One sec. Okay, so one second here. The E-mini makes the best example because it's a very popular market, and yet it is the market that kind of falls outside of the normal parameters. Okay, just one second. I'm waiting for the chart to build. Okay, so here now is the E-mini with the default settings. Oh, I'm just going to make a liar out of me. Because we've had all this volatility lately, the E-mini were actually with the default settings getting a decent number of signals printing. But let me scroll back here a few days. Oh, it is. Look at that, you scoundrels. Usually you open up the E-mini chart and it looks, oh, there's been so much volatility. Usually you open up your E-mini chart, okay, I'm not going to be able to show you, and your chart will look like this with these vertical lines being your session break lines. There's been so much volatility lately that it's not going to make for a very good example. But if you open up a chart, whether it's E-mini or crude oil or the pound US dollar pair or whatever, and these are your session break lines, this tells you that you're not getting enough data during the day. So you would need to adjust your brick size. If, on the other hand, you're looking at your chart and your time base is printing in seconds, where you would have like 735.01, 735.07, 735.15, 735.21, and so on, and you get all these bars printing in about 2 seconds, that tells you that you're getting too much data and you need to increase your brick size. So your only time you really need to start fiddling with it is if you're not getting enough data or you're getting too much data. And then there's also the people that just like to play with their charts. They like to try to optimize for the market, and that's fine, especially if you're using something like the Profit Finder. You can go through and you can try to optimize your settings, optimize your stops, optimize your profit targets. So the Profit Finder, a great tool to do that. The Raptor, we just opened up the programming a little bit more. But yeah, Vincent, you're right. There's nothing wrong with going with the defaults, providing you get enough information in there. So like I say, if it's not enough information or too much information, you may need to make some changes to your settings. All right, gang, a very volatile day here this morning, and yet the market not going anywhere. If you're going to stick it out for the remainder of the day, well, right now I think I would still be siding with the buyers, although, you know, until we get out of the broader trading range that we've established today, it's going to be tough going. So do be careful out there. Have yourselves a great weekend. Again, final reminder, no trading room next week. I will see you the week after, the week of the 22nd. I will talk to you then. Bye for now.